Alright, so we're covering lesson 1.3. We're going to go over the special trig limits. Alright, there are three formulas you need to memorize. Just like when you're in integrated 1, 2, and 3, there are a few formulas that you needed to memorize, didn't you? Like for example, didn't you just have to know quadratic formula? Yeah, so, I mean, if you know the quadratic formula, then you're able to solve the question. If you don't know it, then you will miss it, right? Because you don't know the formula. In calculus, you actually have a lot of formulas that you need to memorize. And these are some of them. You have total of close to about 62 formulas that you need to memorize. And we will memorize all those formulas in this class. Why? Because I will give you weekly quiz on those formulas later on down the line. So when we get to that point, when we have a weekly quiz, after about a month later, you're going to memorize the whole thing. Okay? All right, so in this case, you need to memorize. First one is this one right here. All right, these two boxes means that whatever you have there, they have to match. So if you have a sign X on the top, then you must have an X. If you have Y, then you must have a Y. If you have an XYZ, then you need to have XYZ at the bottom. They need to match. If you have 3X, make sure you have 3X. Right, you can't be missing any parts. You can't have partial. Right, you need to have the whole thing. All right, now this formula only works if you have a limit X is approaching to 0, like that. Alright, so this is our very first one. You need to memorize 3 today. This is our first one. Second one is this one, part B. Alright, you can tell that part A and part B, these two formulas are very similar. Do you see it? Do you see the subtle difference? Right, if you can memorize A, most likely you can memorize part B, right? The only difference is you just have to flip it around. Same idea though. If you have X on the top, you must have X next to the sign. If you have XYZ, this is XYZ. Are we clear? Okay, the last one is this one. It says 1 minus cosine blank should match to that blank. So if you have 1 minus cosine X, then this should be X, and so on. Alright, again, if you look at all of the formulas, this formula only works if you have X is equal to 0 and X is equal to 0. Alright, since we're only using X is approaching to 0, which is same thing as 0, X is equal to 0, there are some trig functions that you need to know with 0 calculation. Like for example, do you remember your unit circle and I said you need to know your unit circle during the summertime? You need to know your unit circle. Thankfully today you only need to know 2 values. One of them is sine 0. According to your unit circle, what is sine 0? Anybody know? According to the unit circle table, what is sine 0? Yes?
1.
Close. 0. Sine 0 is 0. You need to know that. Right? And then according to your unit circle, what is cosine 0?
1.
That's 1. Alright, later on, like if I give you something like sine pi over 6. Anybody know the answer to sine pi over 6? You don't need to know it today, but later on you do. Not today, next week sometime. Will be sine of pi over 6. Anybody know? 1/2. Whoever said it, it is 1/2. Like what if I give you something like cosine of 7 pi over 4? Anybody know the answer to cosine 7 pi over 4 without looking at your unit circle table? What is it?
Root 2 over 2.
It is negative, is it negative? No, it's positive root 2 over 2 is correct. Whoever said that. Awesome. You need to know your unit circle for your AP exam. And we need to take time to practice that a little bit more. All right? And we will. Okay? But for today, you need to know these things right here. Make sure you guys know those. All right? You should know, and then you, for a long time actually, right? Even after this class, you should know that sine of 0 is 0, cosine of 0 is 1. All right, so we're going to go down to 3 of the examples that we have there. All right, you don't have to copy anything down, just pay attention to me, and then we'll go over this. You can watch the video over again if you need to. All right? So I'm going to circle in red. All right, your goal is to match this one with that one. Does it match?
No.
No, it does not match. So you cannot use a formula. You can only use a formula if these are matching. So there's a trick you need to use so that you can match them. I hope you guys know that 3 over 3 is same thing as 1. Did you know that 3 over 3 is 1? So 1 times anything is same. So the trick is to take this number and multiply top and bottom by that. But, do you see this bottom 3? Instead of putting it here, we're going to move it over here next to x, in front of it. And then this one stays on the top. It's left over. That's an extra 3. Alright, so when I move this 3 to the front, I get this right here, 3x. And now we have a sine 3x, which they're matching. Why do I want to make it so that they're matching? What is sine 3x over 3x? What is that equal to, according to our formula? 1. This whole thing is equal to 1. So therefore, this is the same thing as 3 times 1, which is 3. How many of you guys follow what I just did? All right, about 10 people. All right, so again, don't copy anything, just pay attention to me, okay? All right, again, I'm going to use a red color. I'm going to go to our second example. All right, so according to our formula, if you look at your formula, are these matching?
No.
No, they're not matching. So I cannot use the formula. By the way, which formula are we looking at? A, B, or C?
C.
C. What number do you need to have here in order to use part C formula? 7. So the trick is to multiply top and bottom by 7. Do you see that? But do you see this bottom 7? I need to move it. Where do I move this bottom 7 to? I need to move this 7 to where?
In front of the x.
In front of the x, right here. You need to put it in front of the x. But this one is left over. You see that? So that's why we get this, 7x at the bottom and 7x on the top. Now they're matching. So according to our formula, part C, what is this whole bracket equal to?
0.
0. So you have that extra 7, so this is 7 times 0, which gives you 0. Question?
Where it says limit of 7, is that 7 the extra 7?
Yeah, that's 7. You can put it at the end, or you can, I like to put it at the end, but this example, you can put it in the front. It doesn't matter if you put 7 at the end or 7 in the front. It's the same thing, 7 times or something times 7, okay? All right, this is a little bit more complicated now. Again, just pay attention to me, all right? You don't have to copy this. Just make sure you understand each step. All right, so here we go. You need to know from trig identity. Remember those formulas that I gave you during the summertime? I said eventually you need to know at least half of them. Like you need to know tangent x. According to the identity, what is tangent x equal to? Anybody have an idea what tangent x is equal to? One of those formulas? Yeah, very good. Someone said it. Sine x over cosine x is correct. All right. So how many of you guys remember that? Raise your hand. All right. So you need to know those. Because this one, is this one of our formula? Is there a tangent formula on the top, A, B, or C? No, we do not have a tangent formula. So what we need to do is we need to change tangent to x with this identity. So that's why they have this as a top. You see it? Tangent to x is same thing as sine 2x over cosine 2x over x. Alright, this x is actually a fraction. How do I make this x to be a fraction? X over 1. Okay, what do you do if you have a fraction over a fraction? Multiply by the reciprocal. So you multiply by the reciprocal, which is 1 over x. That's why, do you see this x? They're putting it in front of the cosine right there. Do you see that? That's why they went from here to there. Okay, how many of you guys follow what I did from here to there? All right, very good. Excellent. Okay, this is really tricky. They're skipping some steps, but instead of writing it this way, you can actually separate this to sine 2x over x times 1 over cosine 2x. I can separate this fraction into these two fractions. How many of you guys see that? Raise your hand. Why did I separate it this way? What's the reason for me to separate it into these two fractions? So that, what? Yeah, so I can put this as a formula format, right? Either A, B, or C, which will be A in this case. What's missing from this circle part? Are they matching?
No.
No. What am I missing? 2. So what's the trick? So you need to multiply by 2 over 2 just for that part. So what am I going to do with this 2?
In front of the x.
Put it in front of the x. So this is sine 2x over 2x times extra 2 outside. So what is this? That'll be 1. So this whole thing will turn out to be what? It's not just 1, it is 2. So it'll be 2 times this one. Does that make sense? So that's why they have this right here. It is 2 times cosine, because 2 times 1 is 2 over cosine 2x. Now we can use direct substitution. You see this? Remember we learned direct substitution the other day? You can plug in 0 here. So what is cosine 2 times 0? Isn't it 0? So what is cosine of 0? We just talked about it 10 minutes ago. 1, so this is 2 over 1, therefore this is 2. Alright, a lot of work. Do you see it? Okay, so I'm going to check to see if you guys were able to follow what I just said. Okay? Alright, so go ahead and take out a scratch paper, notebook, whatever you have. Let's try number 1. I'm going to give you about a minute. Let me pause this. Alright, let's go back to our problem. I think I gave you enough time to kind of look over number 1. Alright, here's number 1. So, are they matching?
No.
No. This is not matching with this one. So this is no good. We need to do something. What do I need to do? Anybody have an idea what we need to multiply by? 1/2. I need to multiply the top by 1/2 and bottom by 1/2. And do you see this bottom 1/2? What am I going to do with that bottom 1/2? Put it in front of the x. So the next line should be, I know this is tedious, but you need to write limit. X goes to 0. Sine 1/2 x all over 1/2 x times, we have that extra 1/2 here on the top. Does that make sense? Okay, what was the whole purpose of getting this?
So it equals 1.
Yeah, because according to your formula, this whole thing is 1. This whole thing actually is 1. So this is 1 times 1/2, which will be
1/2.
1/2 is your limit. And your answer is just a numerical value, you don't have a limit. In between, you need to write limit x goes to 0, blah, 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 and so on, okay? Alright, let's see if this is correct. If you look underneath, it says answer 1 is 1/2. Okay, how many of you guys got that on your own? Close to about half, which isn't too bad. Okay, let's try number 2. Alright, here we go. Alright, this is number 2. Okay, so does it look like one of our formulas that is on the top, A, B, or C? No, it does not. So there's a trick in changing this. Anybody know how to change cosecant x? Yeah, very good. This is x goes to 0. This is x times 1 over sine x. Okay, how many of you guys got that? Alright, good, excellent. Now, you need to rearrange it to one of those forms. So what am I going to do with this x? What are we doing with that x? We just have to put it on the top, right? So this is limit x goes to 0, x over sine x, because x is the same thing as x over 1. You multiply top, bottom, bottom. Alright, is this the form that we wanted it?
Yes.
Yes, we do. Are they matching?
Yes.
Yes, they are. So I don't have to do anything. So according to the full formula, limit x goes to 0, x over sine x is equal to 1. And we are done. And that should be correct. Alright. Maybe we'll do one more after that. You guys can do this on your own, okay? Alright, try number 3. Alright, now we're looking at number 3. Alright, so someone's going to help us with this problem. Alright, so go ahead.
You could simplify sine 2x to 2 times sine x times cos.
Okay, so first you need to, there is no such formula like this. You need to separate this. Alright, so how do you separate this? This is limit x goes to 0, sine 2x over 1 times 1 over sine x. You need to separate them like that. Okay, and we're going to look at this one. Okay, I think that's what you were telling me. All right, go ahead and continue with what you just told me. What are you going to multiply this one by?
I wasn't going to multiply it. But I think your method is different.
Oh, what did you do? Did you just multiply by 2 over 1 or something?
Oh no, I didn't do that method.
Okay, so what can I multiply this thing that I circle by? Are they matching? No. What am I missing over here?
2x.
So what do I need to multiply this one by? So I need to multiply by
2x.
sine 2x over 1 times by 2x and 2x on the top and bottom. And what am I going to do with this?
Right in front of the 1.
Put it in the 1, right? So this is sine 2x over 2x times 2x. Okay, what is this right here? Is it matching now?
Yes.
So what is that?
1.
1 times 2x. That's just the first part right there. Does that make sense? Alright, this one is your second formula. Is it matching? No. So what do I need to multiply this one by?
X over x.
X over x. I need to multiply by x over x. What am I going to do with this top x? Right there, I'm going to put it at 1, right? So this is x over sine x, and then we have 1 over x because x is on the bottom. And what is this according to our formula? What is this? Isn't it 1?
Yes.
Times 1 over x. Alright, so then we have 2x times 1 over x, 2x over 1, same thing, which is 2x over x. So x goes away, answer is 2. And that's how you're supposed to solve them. Okay, how many of you guys did that on your own? One person. Okay, I'll give you time to kind of copy that and try to understand it. Alright, so I'm going to pause this video. Basically, this is your lesson for today. Alright? But I'm going to have you work on this and I'll be walking around and then to see if you guys are getting it or not. Alright? So let me stop recording this.